Traditional goal setting assumes we exist as only physical beings, accumulating stuff in a linear time present that resulted from just one past. What if we're actually living in many more than four dimensions while trained to limit our thinking and perceptions to just four? What if everything in our four dimensions is rendered from energies and templates beyond 4D? If so, our traditional goals may be thinking way too small. An expanded understanding of our true nature may call for goals commensurate with hyperdimensional capabilities within hyperdimensional landscapes and timelines amongst hyperdimensional beings. Given that, limiting our scope to just four dimensions would be like playing checkers on the same board where others are playing chess. On our path of evolving consciousness, lightworkers eventually reach a point where our unkindness to others makes our own heart hurt, leading to choosing kindness, if only out of self interest. From that point, to harm or invalidate individuals or groups feels like violence to ourselves and the universe, making validating kindness seem like the obvious choice for any advanced intelligence. The Z's, as channeled by Lee Harris, would call this a symptom of a returning Lemurian consciousness. Science would call it whole systems thinking, which, according to channeled first contact specialist Bashar, is not only common amongst our space cousins, but a requirement for a seat at the intergalactic grown-ups table. This is because ascension is the product of inclusion, not exclusion. To model our space cousins in this way is to demonstrate our readiness for open contact, their medical cures, their technology, and their intergalactic opportunities. They would likely also bring free energy, ways to break down the barriers of time and space, and an elevated perspective, neutral opinion around the truth of historical and current events. Hence, the goal to develop an appreciation for the interconnectedness, interdependence, and validity of all life within Earth's limited scope would be a wise one, positioning us well for a vast increase in scope. That said, an unwise goal for lightworkers is to stay glued to and constantly marinating in vibration lowering news. Per Bashar, the universe has a 51% bias towards loving, positive energy, so, as they say in Las Vegas, the house, or in this case love, will eventually win. He also says that 95% of beings, whether on Earth, hyperdimensionally, or intergalactically, are basically benevolent. Here on Earth, the 5% representing old, dark energy are greatly aided by the press in creating a lot of distress. Consciousness on Earth has reportedly now elevated to the point where light will eventually prevail, but not without the dark going down swinging. Dark energy will drag the game out as long as possible by literally feeding on the low frequency energy of our fear, worry, and distress. This is why the future will reportedly refer to this time as the frequency wars, where those of the light ultimately win by keeping their consciousness frequency high, while the dark tries to win by ensnaring all of us, but especially light workers, to lower our frequency to that of fear, distress, etc. Have you noticed old energy not only going out of its way to cause unnecessary fear and distress, but to make a public spectacle of it? So even those not directly involved may be ensnared in fear and distress frequencies. Old energy has cleverly engineered a sustaining and strengthening low frequency consciousness buffet for itself, in which we bring all the food. In this case, our TEA. Our time, energy, and attention is the currency old energy wants from us, so we should think twice before offering it up. If we can muster the sovereignty of mind to withhold our tea from dark energy, our heart will still tell us when something is ours to say or do in the visible 4D realm. In the meantime, keeping our grounded, centered consciousness at the highest possible frequency impacts the unseen dimensions that provide the templates for what manifests in our seen dimensions. Hence, of all the levers we could pull to effect positive change, guarding, rather than spilling our tea and doom scrolling, and staying vibrationally up and for things instead of against things may be our greatest point of hyperdimensional leverage. Personally, I look at only written headlines only once per day and never before bed. While old dark energy likes it when anyone brings their tea to their buffet, they especially target light workers. Why? If you're familiar with the 0 to 1000 Dr. David Hawkins scale of consciousness, The average fear-based sleepwalking person scores around 200. Since the scale is logarithmic, one level 300 light worker may energetically cancel out the fear and negativity of 90,000 others. I emphasize may in that it's only if that person guards their T to keep their vibration high. At level 400, it's 400,000. At 500, it's 750,000. At 600, it's 10 million. At 700, one light worker may energetically cancel the negative energy impact of 70 million. Hence, when we bring our time, energy, and attention to news that's weaponized to lower our frequency to that of fear and distress, we've handed the dark side huge hyperdimensional leverage. Given leverage like that, it wouldn't take that many light workers being carefully protective of their T to create a scale tipping critical mass in favor of an elevated, validating, kind mass consciousness. Through sovereignty of mind, we have the power to neutralize dark energy force. Although physical action may be the currency of 4D reality, the emanation of a high vibration, validating kindness frequency may be the currency required to open the door to civilizations and opportunities beyond 4D. Throughout history, some have introduced consciousness frequencies that eventually transformed our world. Moses introduced the consciousness frequency era of societal rules. Jesus introduced the consciousness frequency era of love through viewing others as extensions of ourself, and December 2012 reportedly introduced the consciousness frequency era of compassion. Newer eras don't invalidate previous ones, but add dimension on our path towards a whole systems thinking future. On our winding path towards that future, each era brings expanded goals. The goal of the rules era was to avoid punishment. The goal of the love era was to be in service to the common good. On top of those goals, the compassion era invites us to move beyond clever to our true nature of being hyperdimensionally savvy, kind, and wise in a way that offers a positive example. It's time to upgrade our goals from merely acquiring the next shiny object to doing the internal work towards becoming more of who we truly are. Indeed, to be caught in the act of shifting emphasis from what we have to who we truly are may be what earns us our galactic citizenship green card. Along the way, we may discover that shifting our goals from having to being ironically creates superior having results. Increased emphasis on being will naturally shift us from self-focused to service-focused as we each begin to see ourselves as a cell within a larger organism. So caring for and validating the entire diverse organism benefits each of us. It's time to upgrade our internal GPS and goals to embrace the much larger and much richer hyperdimensional playing field that we, unknowingly, have always been on. As we do, don't be surprised if our hyperdimensional support team provides synchronicities to help usher us into a greatly improved and expanded future. What will it be? The preceding was generated by an AI ghostwriter from Bob Cochran's writing and sampled voice. For more information on Bob's first book, Emerging Imaginal You, a time-traveling note to self from the corner of science and spirituality, or his second book, Hyperdimensional You, Surfing the Shift Toward Mastery, check out Clever, the number 2, Wise, that's clever2wise.com. On Facebook, search for hashtag Clever2Wise. To help this work continue, like and share Bob's YouTube videos, which can be located by searching for @Clever2Wise. To be notified as new videos become available, click subscribe.